हेलो वेलकम टू दिस वीडियो। इस वीडियो में हम बात करने वाले हैं यूनियन बजट के बारे में। बट इस वीडियो में मैं अकेला नहीं हूँ, इस वीडियो में एक और गेस्ट भी है। बट उनको बुलाने से पहले लाइक और सब्सक्राइब पे क्लिक कर दो। अगर कर दिया हो तो प्लीज वेलकम मिस्टर निकुंज ठक्कर। हेलो वेलकम टू बजट ब्रेकडाउन। तो स्टार्ट करते हैं। तो पहला सवाल मेरा ये है, बजट बेसिक टर्म्स में होता क्या है?
Right, so budget is a estimation of all the revenues that the country has had and all the expenses that the country has done in a period of 1 year. ये हर साल present होता है on 1st February, and it is a document that the government places in the parliament every year, and then it is the finance bill is presented, and then it is turned into law for the next year.
ओके, स्टार्ट करते हैं मेन की। देखते हैं कि इस बजट में क्या क्या आया था। ठीक है, तो पहले स्टार्ट करते हैं इकोनॉमी से। तो इस बार इकोनॉमी में कैपेक्स टारगेट एक्सपांडेड बाय 35%। तो कैपेक्स का मतलब आप बता सकते हो थोड़ा?
So capex is nothing but capital expenditure. Capital expenditure are those expenditures which businesses undertake these are those expenditures which businesses undertake in order to create assets that will generate revenue. Okay, so if a company is putting up a factory, or if a company is buying a machinery, all of these are called capital expenditures. So in this
Okay.
budget, the government is focusing on capital expenditure, and the logic of the government is that the government is encouraging capital expenditure so that business activity can increase and then lead to a growth in the economy.
सो अगर मेरा कोई कंपनी है और मुझे कोई मशीनरी रहना है तो वो कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर हुआ बेसिकली, राइट?
Exactly. That is what is known as capital expenditure.
ओके, तो कैपेक्स टारगेट एक्सपांडेड बाय 35% फ्रॉम 5.54 lakhs crore to 7.50 lakh.
Right. So the government does this capital expenditure, and the government's expectation is that if the government is doing the capital expenditure, then the private companies will also be encouraged to do capital expenditure. So this is government's way of encouraging capital expenditure by doing some capex on its own, and then expecting that the private sector will also pick up capex on its part.
Okay. ECLGS cover expanded by 50,000 to 5 lakh crore. ECLGS क्या है, मतलब बेसिक टर्म्स में?
So ECLGS is nothing but emergency credit line guarantee scheme. So what happened was, when COVID hit, a lot of businesses started facing trouble. So the government came out with this scheme. इसमें government provides a guarantee for loans taken by businesses from the bank. अगर किसी business को emergency loan चाहिए because of COVID, they are not able to meet certain expenditures, and because of COVID, if they are facing certain issues, these companies can take a loan, and that loan will be guaranteed by the government. So they don't need to put up any other guarantee or any other thing from their side. Now the government has expanded this by 50,000 crore specifically for the hospitality sector, because the hospitality sector has faced tremendous losses and they have not got much support so far. So this scheme, which was initially for MSMEs, the government is now expanding this to the hospitality sector and under the same scheme. So that is why they've added this 50,000 crore to support that sector.
Okay. Top focus of the budget this year are पीएम गति शक्ति, इंक्लूसिव डेवलपमेंट, प्रोडक्टिविटी एनहांसमेंट, सनराइज अपॉर्चुनिटीज, एनर्जी ट्रांजिशन, क्लाइमेट एक्शन, फाइनेंसिंग ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट। पीएम गति शक्ति में बहुत कुछ आया था ना इस बार।
राइट, सो पीएम गति शक्ति गवर्नमेंट का फ्लैगशिप इकोनॉमिक पुश की तरह दिख रहा है इस बार। सो दिस इंक्लूड्स अ लॉट ऑफ इंडस्ट्रीज, इट इंक्लूड्स infrastructure, manufacturing, logistics. So they have listed down 7 sectors which they will promote and they will support, and then the expectation is that these 7 sectors will become the engine for the growth of the economy. So this
Okay.
is a very good packaging for this, where if you're packaging all of these things together and supporting holistic growth through these sectors, and if it is implemented well, obviously it can be a good growth opportunity.
Okay. तो बेसिकली वो लोग सपोर्ट कर रहे बिजनेसेस को, और ये सात सेक्टर्स में से।
Yes, so ये 7
Okay.
sectors, they will be the focus.
Okay. Make in India also being supported through calibration of custom duties.
Right, and the next point that you have also relates to Make in India. So the government is focusing on Make in India a lot. They have the Atmanirbhar Bharat program, which is running since the last few years.
Yes.
So even this year they are continuing with the same theme and providing some small adjustments or some small benefits to encourage manufacturing in India, because the government has rightly identified that manufacturing is a very important growth lever, and our economy is very highly dependent on services. Around 57, I think 55+% of the economy is services. Manufacturing is very important because manufacturing generates more jobs.
More
So
jobs.
through these things, so for example, what the government has done here is they have calibrated custom duties in such a way that items that are low value items which can be easily manufactured in India, okay, but currently they are being imported, the government has slapped custom duties on those items. So items like solar lanterns, okay, this is not a very highly complex thing to make, but it is being imported. So the government has slapped an extra duty on it, so that import becomes expensive. When import
import
becomes
करी ना भाई,
expensive, import आप कर पाओगे, but import महंगा हो जाएगा.
लेस
तो
हो जाएगा,
government
थोड़ा
ये
कम
बोल
हो
रहा है
जाएगा।
कि import को हम महंगा कर देते हैं, so that अगर कोई कंपनी है जो ये बिजनेस में इन्वॉल्व है, वो ये सोचे कि हम बाहर से मंगा रहे इतना महंगा पड़ रहा है, अगर यहाँ पे बनाते हैं तो हम सस्ते में बना सकते हैं और ज्यादा प्रॉफिट बना सकते हैं. So the government is trying to do this. So they have done this on a lot of items. For example, another one over here is imitation jewelry. So imitation jewelry usually plastic का बना होता है jewelry. This is not your precious jewelry, gold, diamond, ये सब नहीं होता. Imitation jewelry. Majority currently it is imported from China. But at the end of the day, it is nothing but plastic, right? Which we can easily manufacture. So the government has increased the duty on that so that it becomes expensive to import, and then it promotes local manufacturing. And then the other thing over here they have done is that any new entity which is being set up, which will undertake manufacturing activities, unke liye they have come out with a discounted tax rate of 15%, which was available till 31st March 2022, but now they have extended it by 1 more year. So if you are setting up a new manufacturing company, that manufacturing entity will pay tax at the rate of 15% instead of the usual higher tax rate.
तो ये और दूसरे टैक्स रेट क्या है, मतलब मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट्स के लिए 15% है?
for manufacturing entity which is newly set up.
हाँ,
अगर आपका नया सेटअप कर रहे हो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एंटिटी, न्यूली रजिस्टर्ड एंटिटी, देन टैक्स रेट विल बी 15%. Otherwise the corporate tax rate, anyways it has come down. So the effective tax rate used to be, after all your deductions, cess, surcharge, everything, it used to be around 35%. Now it is down to around between 22 to 25%. So this the
okay,
government has not done through the budget. ये बजट में उसका कोई ये नहीं है, but it has happened apart from the budget. So the
okay,
government does a lot of announcements apart from the budget also. So that is how the corporate tax rate has anyway come down. Now what they are doing here is कि अगर आप कोई नया entity setup कर रहे हो for manufacturing, तो वो 25 वाले रेट से भी आपको 15 के रेट पे टैक्स भरना पड़ेगा.
बराबर,
So this just
ठीक है,
encourages manufacturing.
ठीक है, good. Logistic major push under PM Gati Shakti scheme. The national highways network will be expanded by 25,000 kilometer in fiscal year 2023, जिससे और jobs create होगी, basically.
Right. So logistics is a very important engine for the growth of any economy, because for an economy to grow, basic है कि people have to buy and sell goods. When somebody has to buy and sell goods, the most important thing over there is that there has to be a logistics network behind it, which makes sure that this buying and selling happens in an efficient manner. Today, when you order from Amazon, you order it, without thinking anything, but it goes through a
हाँ,
very complex network of logistics, over a period of, 2-3 days. And that is only after you place the order. But even before that, when something has to be manufactured, there is a lot of things, for something, let's take even something like electricity. Okay, coal is mined in, certain mineral rich areas of our country. Power plants are located everywhere, so coal has to go from one place to another.
list to another.
Any items that are manufactured have to move from one place to another. They have to move from the place where they are found or place where they are manufactured to the place where the markets exist. So logistics is very important. Logistics is a very big part of the cost of the goods that you buy as well. So if logistics becomes more efficient, if logistics network becomes, wider, deeper, eventually it becomes cheaper. Okay, so
Okay,
let's say an Amazon order that you place today without Prime, if it takes 24 hours to get delivered in a city like Mumbai, if you go to a smaller place, this usually takes 2 to 3 days. Okay, so with a better logistics network, the entire time can be cut down, and when time gets cut down, the cost also
price,
gets cut down.
cost also cut down.
Okay, so a lot of these things are planned, that you can see on this slide. You have a national highways network of 25,000 kilometers, which is going to be awarded. The contracts are going to be awarded for it in FY23. There's going to be a, they are going to do 4 multimodal logistics parks. So multimodal logistics क्या होता है कि where there are 2 modes of transport involved. So for example, railways and roads.
Okay,
So there will be a park where, these are locations where, multiple modes of transport come together. So if there is something that has to go by railways from point A to point B, and then from point B to point C, it has to go by road. Okay, so this transfer from a train to a road, or let's say it has to go to a, airport by road, and from there it has to go by flight to the next destination. So what these parks do is that they, make the transfer more efficient. So they are setting up 4 of these parks. You can sort of go through the next few points and then we can speak about it.
400 new generation Vande Bharat trains with better energy and riding experience to be developed and manufactured during the next 3 years. 100 PM Gati Shakti cargo terminals for multi-modal logistic facilities. So, पहले तो
Right, so
बात करते हैं वंदे भारत ट्रेन्स का.
पहले कार्गो टर्मिनल्स का बात कर लेते हैं because it relates to the above point. So they are going to set up 100 of these cargo terminals. These will be associated with the railways. So these are places where a lot of cargo, a lot of goods, a lot of containers can come, and then they are disseminated from there to different points. Again, this is for the multimodal logistics. So these centers will be put up, terminals will be put up in places where, let's say, road network and railway network come together, or ports and railways, or ports and road networks come together, and they will put up these small cargo terminals in all these places to facilitate logistics. And then the other thing is the Vande Bharat trains. So if you have seen Vande Bharat train, India ka abhi fastest train hai. This train is completely made in India. It is made in the integral coach factory in Chennai. And right now, I think we have 4 trains, if I'm not wrong, and they run between, I think, Delhi to Kanpur or Delhi to Lucknow or something like that. And they have cut down the traveling time tremendously. And then these are very futuristic trains with really good amenities. So if the government is giving a push on these, it is absolutely going to be a great thing, because traveling time between cities will come down. So let's say a Bombay Ahmedabad today, which takes around 6.5 hours by the fastest train. If a Vande Bharat train is put there, it can come down by another hour and a half. So, eventually what all of these small cutting down of times does is that it promotes the economy indirectly. Because if today you have the option available of going from one business center to another business center and coming back on the same day by finishing your work during the day, तो आप उतना ज़्यादा काम कर सकते हो, right? आज से 25 साल पहले, if you are a businessman who had to travel, let us say, between Bombay and Pune, okay, you would not be able to do it very frequently. तो आपका पुणे का काम और आपका बॉम्बे का काम जो पेस पे चल रहा था, आज वो पेस आप बहुत ज्यादा फास्ट कर सकते हो, क्योंकि आप दोनों जगह पे प्रेजेंस कर आपका दे सकते हो, because going from one place to another has become more simpler. So this is again a push in the same direction.
Okay. Unified logistics interface platform to enhance logistic interface.
Right. So this can be something that is very important, because once everything comes on a common platform, which is enabled by technology, again, it goes back to efficiency. Right. So right now what happens is, if you have to send goods from one place to another, there is a whole set of documents that have to go with it. You have to have an invoice, you have to have all kinds of registration and proofs. There is an e-way bill. So a lot of that has to happen, और ये सब चीजें आज की तारीख में भी physical format में हो रही है. So once a technology platform comes in, where all of these things can happen, it can become much easier for logistics companies. So it will cut down their costs. It will cut down their regulation, that they have to go through, and it will cut down all the documentation that they have to go through. And another thing very important, which can come in with this, if this is implemented in the right manner, is that this can bring in a lot of transparency. So there is much lesser opportunity for things getting lost. There is much lesser opportunity for any kind of corruption happening. So things become much more transparent, and when it becomes more transparent, it just becomes more efficient.
Efficient.
So the whole theme is to make everything more efficient so
Efficient.
that it becomes cheaper. So
Okay.
that is being followed throughout all of these things.
Okay. Agriculture sector, government paid 2.37 lakh crore towards procurement of wheat and paddy under MSP operation.
Right. So wheat and paddy are the most important crops of our country. They are grown mostly in the northern belt, and the government, has to give a minimum selling price, that is the MSP,
Okay.
for a lot of the crops. And again, this year the government is going to give out, 2.37 lakh. So that means they are going to buy wheat and paddy from farmers worth 2.37 lakh crore.
Directly.
Yeah, so this is, this is a system that has been changing in the last couple of years. That these MSP purchases are also now happening through DBT. So DBT is nothing but direct benefit transfer, where instead of the money going to an agent and from the agent to the farmer, like it used to happen before, now the money goes directly into the farmer's account.
Account.
So whatever amount the government gives, the whole amount the farmer gets.
Okay.
This is something that is a positive for the farmer, where they don't have to rely on a third party to get the money which the government has given for them. It directly comes to their own account.
Right. A rationalized scheme to increase domestic oilseed production will be brought into to cut down imports. तो मोस्टली ऑयल ज्यादा इंपोर्ट होता है, तो वो कट डाउन करने के लिए है ये स्कीम, राइट?
Exactly. So
और
edible oil import होता है. Again, edible oil पे उन्होंने apart from this, they've put a custom duty also. So that edible oil import will also become little expensive. And you are bringing a scheme to improve domestic production also. So this helps in both the way. And the other thing also here is that our agriculture is relying heavily on wheat and rice currently. So what the government should ideally do is the government should promote other crops, so that farmers who are located in areas where wheat and rice cannot grow very well, those farmers also get benefited. So these small things will help agriculture overall by diversifying from wheat and rice. So the other thing apart from this also is that the government is promoting millets a lot. Millets matlab things like bajra, jawar, ये सारी चीजें millets होती है. So they are not wheat and rice, right? So the government is promoting those crops as well in the FY23. So that we'll have to see how the dynamic plays out, but that should be an interesting one to watch during the year.
National farming will be promoted along Ganga River corridor. Ken Betwa River linking project worth 44,605 crore announced DPR for 5 other link finalized.
Right. So natural farming is a very important thing that the government is promoting. This will so what natural farming entails is not using any chemicals or not using any chemical fertilizers, pesticides, etc., and relying on natural or organic natural methods and organic inputs. So using chemicals on farming has a big impact on the health of not only the people who consume that food, but also on the health of the farmer who is actually using those things. Those chemicals also go into the ground, so your groundwater also gets polluted with that. So if we cut down our reliance on chemical inputs, obviously it will go a long way. The
Right.
other thing very interesting is on the river linking projects. So this Ken Betwa is a very important river linking project. It has been in the planning stages for many years now. So this is located in the Bundelkhand region in Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh, and that region is very prone to droughts. So what this will do is there are two rivers which are flowing on either side of the region. This will connect the two rivers by a canal. Now, what happens is when this canal is there, water is flowing through that canal. This water can be used by the surrounding areas of
Right.
the canal for everything. So it can be used for farming, that is irrigation, that is the most important, but it also gives you drinking water. They can set up hydropower projects along these river links wherever there is an opportunity. They can set up solar panels on top of these canals. So that is something that the government is also doing with the existing canals. So that is something that will also be done over here. And apart from this, they have also finalized 5 other river links. So what this will do is this will create, linkages between rivers. So what is happening currently is that we have rivers which have enough water, but areas where the river is flowing, that area has enough water, but there are other areas where there are no rivers, and those areas are dry and they rely only on rainfall is erratic. rainfall कभी ज्यादा आ गया, कभी कम आ गया,
कम आ गया.
तो उस पर आप डिपेंड नहीं कर सकते एग्रीकल्चर के लिए. So once this network of canals which connect different rivers is in place, that will ensure that water is available throughout the year. So what this
Okay.
does is, if irrigation is available, आज के तारीख में अगर फार्मर सिर्फ साल में एक क्रॉप उगा सकता है जब भी बारिश होती है तभी, ओके, बाकी का टाइम खाली पड़ा रहता है. सो अभी बाकी का टाइम में भी द फार्मर कैन ग्रो अ सेकेंड क्रॉप बिकॉज वाटर इज नाउ अवेलेबल थ्रू दिस. So this is very important for food security, very important for agriculture.
Right. So telecom sector spectrum auction will be conducted in 2022 for the rollout of 5G.
Right. So 5G has been in the development stage for a few years now, and if spectrum auctions are conducted in FY 22, or maybe I think it is 23. By the end of FY 23, the government is expecting to launch 5G services. So this is a good robust step, to newer technology, and this is definitely welcome.
Okay. 5% of USO fund to be provided for R&D and technology upgradation. Contracts for laying optical fiber in villages to be awarded under Bharat Net project under PPP in 2022 to 2023.
Right. So this USO fund is something that all telecom companies, your Jio, your Airtel, your Vodafone, so all of these people, इनका जो revenue होता है उसका एक certain percentage goes towards this fund called the USO fund, which means the Universal Service Obligation Fund. What the purpose of this fund is कि जो rural areas है, जो जहाँ पे टेलीकॉम नेटवर्क को पहुंचाना ज्यादा एक्सपेंसिव होता है, एट द सेम टाइम वहां का जो पॉपुलेशन है that cannot pay enough for the telecom services. So आपका खर्चा भी ज्यादा है, आपका रेवेन्यू भी कम है. तो ये जो USO फंड है, this is used for those areas to take the telecom network deeper into the villages of our country. So now 5% of that will go towards R&D and technology upgradation. So this will result in hopefully newer technologies, or this will hopefully result in better access. In the same vein, they are planning to lay out optical fibers, to villages. So, optical fibers are very important for two things. One is broadband. So what this does is it will take broadband to all villages of the country. So broadband penetration is currently still not very high in our country. So if broadband goes to all villages, your internet penetration increases drastically. And the other thing, optical fibers are also important for the 5G network.
5G network.
So what this will do is this will also help in rolling out the 5G network across the country in a better manner. So and it is obvious that it is very important to have internet connectivity in villages, because you can then bring equitable development even to the villages, using internet as a lever. So things like education, things like not just your normal education, even farming education can be given through the internet to the population in the villages, to bring them more into the modern times.
Right. Scheme for design led manufacturing to be launched for 5G ecosystem as a part of PLI scheme to enable affordable broadband and mobile communication in rural and remote areas. PLI scheme matlab
PLI scheme is nothing but production linked incentive scheme. So the government has come out with PLI schemes in, I think, 14 different sectors. तो PLI स्कीम क्या करता है? गवर्नमेंट बोलता है कि अगर आप एक पर्टिकुलर अमाउंट ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट करते हो, ओके, इनटू मेकिंग अ फैक्ट्री, फिर वो फैक्ट्री एक पर्टिकुलर अमाउंट ऑफ रेवेन्यू जनरेट करता है बाय सेलिंग व्हाटएवर यू आर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, तो आपने जो भी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कॉस्ट, उसका आपको जितना भी रेवेन्यू आया है, ओके, उसका कुछ परसेंट मैं एज अ गवर्नमेंट आपको दे दूंगा. सो इसका पर्पस क्या है? कि इसका पर्पस ये है कि अगर मैं एक मोबाइल मैन्युफैक्चरर हूँ, ठीक है, इंडिया में मोबाइल्स बनाना इज मोर एक्सपेंसिव देन मेकिंग अ मोबाइल इन चाइना. ओके, मेकिंग अ मोबाइल इन चाइना इज डेफिनेटली चीपर, बट गवर्नमेंट बोल रहा है कि नहीं, इंडिया में बनाओ. तो मैं अगर मैन्युफैक्चरर हूँ तो मैं क्यों ज्यादा खर्चा करूंगा, राइट?
बराबर है.
तो मैं तो बोलूंगा कि यार चाइना से मेरे को सस्ते में मिल रहा है, मैं यहाँ पे क्यों बनाऊं? तो गवर्नमेंट बोल रही है ठीक है, तुम बनाओ तो सही, तुमको जो ज्यादा खर्चा है उसका मैं कुछ पार्ट में आपको वापस दे दूंगा मेरे पॉकेट में से, सो दैट आपका बनाने का खर्चा जो है या आपका जो प्रॉफिट है वो थोड़ा लेवल पे मेंटेन हो सके. सो इससे द गवर्नमेंट इज अगेन encouraging मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इन इंडिया. सो ऐसा एक PLI स्कीम जो आज की तारीख में इट इज अवेलेबल फॉर थिंग्स लाइक मोबाइल्स, it is available for
auto segment, EV segments,
batteries, televisions, a lot of electronic equipment. The government is bringing that PLI for the equipment required for the 5G ecosystem. So 5G का जो नेटवर्क लेआउट है, 5G में कैसा होता है, अपने जो सेल टावर्स होते हैं, ओके, आज जो 4G के लिए जो सेल टावर्स पूरे कंट्री में है, हर सिटी में आपने बहुत सारे सेल टावर्स देखे होंगे, बिल्डिंग्स के ऊपर होते हैं, ठीक है. सो फॉर 5G दैट सेल टावर नेटवर्क नीड्स टू बी मोर डेंस. तो बहुत ज्यादा अभी जितने सेल टावर्स है उससे बहुत ज्यादा सेल टावर्स आपको चाहिए होंगे. तो अगर हम सारा सेल टावर रिक्वायरमेंट import karte hai, then it will become much more expensive. And the other thing is that you are relying on another country for equipment that is so critical in nature for your country, right? So if you encourage manufacturing all of those things locally, it does 2-3 things. It generates jobs in our country, it makes money for people in our country or companies in our country, and the shareholders of those companies are also in our country, so they also make money, and you don't rely on another country for critical equipment that you need for communication within your country. So
Right.
so this is what it is.
सो बेसिकली जो मुझे समझा है, तो पीएलआई स्कीम मेरा एक एक्स कंपनी है और मेरा रेवेन्यू है 135 रुपीज, 135 करोड़। तो 135 करोड़ पे थोड़ा परसेंटेज और गवर्नमेंट देगी, राइट?
या सो इसमें गवर्नमेंट टारगेट्स देती है, ठीक है। अगर आपका
ओके
100 करोड़ का रेवेन्यू है, गवर्नमेंट टारगेट सेट करती है कि आपको 500 करोड़ अचीव करना, ठीक है।
राइट।
तो अगर आप 100 से 500 पहुंचते हो, तो जो 400 का गैप आपने क्रॉस किया है, वो 400 का कुछ परसेंट गवर्नमेंट आपको
मैं
दे देगी
राइट, ठीक है, समझ गया।
एज एन इंसेंटिव।
ठीक है। Moving forward, electric vehicles industry, battery swapping policy to allow electric vehicle charging station for automobiles will be framed। मतलब जो मेरे पास बैटरी है, अगर वो खाली हो गई, ड्रेन हो गया, तो मैं चेंज कर सकता हूँ डायरेक्ट, मुझे पूरा चार्ज करने बैठना नहीं पड़ेगा, राइट?
यस, सो यू हैव टू व्हीलर्स स्पेसिफिकली जो ये बैटरी स्वैपिंग टेक्नोलॉजी यूज करते हैं। तो आपने ऐड देखा होगा फॉर दिस थिंग कॉल्ड बाउंस इन्फिनिटी।
हाँ।
Okay, so that works on the battery swapping mechanism. तो इसमें जो बैटरी होती है ना, वो टू व्हीलर में वो इजीली निकल जाती है, so you don't have to plug it in. I think you have the option of plugging in also, but you don't have to plug it in. आप जैसे जा रहे हो, ठीक है, there will be these battery swapping stations in the city, okay, and if you see that you are low on the battery, you just have to go to that station, pick up the battery from your vehicle, put it over there, pick up another battery that is charged, put it in your vehicle and go. So this whole thing will just take 10 seconds. तो आपको चार्ज करने नहीं बैठना। तो another one that is coming is जो हीरो मोटर्स का एक पार्टनरशिप है with a Taiwanese company called Gogoro, if I'm not mistaken. So under this, Hero Motors is also planning to launch a two-wheeler, for which will use battery swapping rather than charging of the battery. So दो टाइप के मैकेनिज्म्स अवेलेबल है, या तो आप चार्ज कर सकते हो या तो आप बैटरी स्वैपिंग कर सकते हो। सो बैटरी स्वैपिंग के लिए द गवर्नमेंट इज कमिंग अप विद अ स्टैंडर्डाइज्ड पॉलिसी। सो what this does is that it just standardizes these things, and the other thing it does is that it encourages a network of these battery swapping stations. So electric vehicles में charging is the biggest problem. The biggest problem for adoption of electric vehicles is range anxiety, where if I'm buying an electric vehicle, I have anxiety whether my range will last till where I have to go or no. So this range anxiety needs to be solved. So if a battery swapping policy comes, okay, and battery swapping will mostly be used by two-wheelers. Four-wheelers usually battery swapping use नहीं करेंगे. So it opens up another arena for these battery swapping two-wheelers to come and operate in the country. And it is very interesting that the government is focusing on the battery swapping policy first, because battery swapping is used in two-wheelers, and in India the electric vehicle adoption is happening the fastest in two-wheelers, three-wheelers, and then buses, and then passenger vehicles. Passenger vehicles में electric vehicle adoption अभी बहुत ही छोटे लेवल पर है, whereas in two-wheelers you are already at a significant chunk, and I can say with confidence that in the next 3 years, a good 30-40% of all new vehicles sold will be electric vehicles, especially in two-wheelers, even in three-wheelers. So battery swapping coming in is very interesting because it is used mostly by two-wheelers and three-wheelers.
Right. Private sector will be encouraged to create sustainable and innovative business models for battery and energy as a service, improving the efficiency in the EV ecosystem.
Right. So this again goes to the same thing that range anxiety को solve करना. Range anxiety को solve करने के लिए, if you encourage private sectors to come up with new business models for charging, this just gives a boost to the entire ecosystem. So today you have most of the players have just put their own charging networks, which they are giving out free of cost. But if the network has to go, if it has to grow to a certain scale, कोई भी चीज जो फ्री होती है वो बड़ी नहीं हो पाती है. अगर कोई भी चीज को बड़ा करना है तो there has to be a business behind it. So if somebody is making money, then only somebody will invest money, right? So if the government is encouraging new business models to come into this, this is the government's way of taking the charging network to scale, which is extremely important for electric vehicle adoption, to happen at a fast pace.
ठीक है, right. Clean energy funds will be used for projects that will help reduce carbon intensity of the economy. Green bonds will be part of government's borrowings program in fiscal year 2023.
Right. So green bonds, क्या होता है? Sovereign green bonds is what the government is planning to raise. So these are bonds which the government issues to investors, using which the government raises funds, and they are just like your normal bonds that the government issues, okay, to raise funds. The only difference is that here the government will give a commitment to the bondholders that ये जो पैसा मैं उठा रहा हूँ आपसे, ये मैं सिर्फ ग्रीन इनिशिएटिव्स के लिए यूज करूंगा. So anything that helps reduce the carbon intensity. So anything that helps reduce dependence on carbon-based fuels or fossil fuels, will come under this. So things like solar projects, hydro projects, all of these things, ये सब चीजों के लिए the government will raise these green bonds. And it is interesting also because there's a whole section of investors who have said कि हमको पैसा लगाना है, हमको पैसा इन्वेस्ट करना है, ठीक है, बट हम पैसा उसी में इन्वेस्ट करेंगे जिससे एनवायरनमेंट का भला हो रहा है, ठीक है. तो these are so it's called ESG investing, environment, social and governance. So there's a whole class of ESG investors who are sitting out there with money for these causes, right? So the government is just trying to leverage that and saying कि बॉस ठीक है, मैं आपको कमिटमेंट देता हूँ कि मैं इस फॉर्मेट से रेज किया हुआ पैसा सिर्फ एनवायरनमेंट के लिए यूज करूंगा. So it is a win-win for both. The government also gets money, those investors also get an avenue to invest and they get a return on that. So this is a good thing that the government is leveraging.
Right. और क्लीन एनर्जी सेक्टर भी मतलब ग्रो हो जाएगा काफी ज्यादा.
Yeah, obviously वो तो उसका underlying है. So the government has a target of, I think, reaching 500 gigawatts from renewable energy by 2030. So right now you are only at 150 gigawatts from renewable energy. And right now I think renewable energy is around 40% of your total energy requirement. So the government has set a target of taking this to 500 gigawatts and it being more than 50% of your total energy requirement. So for achieving this target, पैसा तो चाहिए, बहुत सारा पैसा चाहिए. So this is a good mechanism to bring in money for that.
Okay. 19,500 crore additional allocation for PLI scheme for manufacturing high efficiency solar modules has been made. Same PLI scheme.
Right, for solar. So what is happening right now is solar बहुत fast grow रहा है अपने country में, but जो solar panel के लिए जो solar module बनता है, ठीक है, most of the components of the solar panel are imported from China, ठीक है. तो हम green तो हो गए, but again you are depending on China for manufacturing that. Right, so this will help in reducing that dependence. So along with this PLI, again they've done changes in the duty structure, where ready-made solar panels अगर आप import करते हो तो ड्यूटी बढ़ा दिया है, और सोलर पैनल बनाने के लिए जो इनपुट चाहिए वो इनपुट मटेरियल्स पे ड्यूटी कम कर दिया है.
Right. Okay. Education and skilling. One class, one TV channel program for PA Vidya will be expanded from 12 to 200 TV channels. This will enable all states to provide supplementary education in regional language for classes 1 to 12.
Right. So this is very interesting. What they are doing is government schools तो operate नहीं कर रहे थे, कोई भी schools operate नहीं कर रहे थे, but private schools जो urban areas में है, they were able to leverage technology very quickly and all classes shifted online. But government schools में ना वो infrastructure available था, ना ही students के पास इतना वो था. These are rural areas वेयर मे बी पूरे घर में एक फोन होता है, कहीं कहीं बार तो 10-12 घर के बीच में एक फोन होता है. You can't expect a child to sit with that phone for 4 hours in a day studying because that phone is used by a lot of other people. So they started these TV channels. ये TV channels पे उन्होंने educational content beam करना शुरू किया. So that because they know that TV तो present है, even गांव में जाओगे तो TV सबके पास है. So TV is something that they have utilized, and now they are planning to double down on it because till that broadband infrastructure which we spoke about, वो फाइबर नेटवर्क पूरा लगेगा गाँव तक, हर गांव में ब्रॉडबैंड जाएगा, 5G नेटवर्क जाएगा, मोबाइल सस्ते होंगे, हर घर में मोबाइल आएगा, तब तक एजुकेशन तो रोक नहीं सकते. ऑलरेडी टीवी प्रेजेंट है. So they are doing these things to make sure that education is not suffering for these students, and all content, all syllabus will be put over there. Then in the next point also they're talking about one class, one TV channel. So this will just formalize that entire thing and take it to the next level. Where if I'm a student sitting in, let's say, Jumri Talaiya somewhere, I don't have to lose out on my education. मुझे पता है कि पूरे दिन टीवी पे मेरे क्लासेस आने वाले हैं, मेरे को चाहिए तब मैं मेरा बाप मेरे को खेत में लेके जाएगा और काम करवाएगा, घर पे बैठा होऊंगा तभी मैं टीवी पे एटलीस्ट मेरा एजुकेशन आगे बढ़ा सकता हूँ. राइट. सो दैट इज द इंटेंट बिहाइंड दिस.
कभी पेरेंट्स बोल भी नहीं सकते पूरा दिन टीवी क्या देख रहे हैं,
टीवी पे पढ़ रहा है,
टीवी पे पढ़ रहा है. Digital university to be set up to provide education to be built on hub and spoke models.
Yeah, so this is again another important step where so with this what will happen is that अपने यहाँ पे इतने सारे, हर एक स्टेट का स्टेट बोर्ड है, फिर CBSE है उसके ऊपर. तो अगर ये डिजिटल यूनिवर्सिटी, what they are trying to do is they are trying to bring the syllabus of all of those boards onto one platform, so that then there is a standardized access available to all schools from where to access all the syllabus, to access all the teaching methodologies. So this digital university does that for schools where you have a common central platform where the entire syllabus is present. So this makes it easier for the government to manage also, and then it makes it easier for schools to access also. So schools, especially in remote areas, can now access the same level of education that is available everywhere else.
Right. Forward, ease of business and living, 75,000 compliances have been eliminated and 1,486 union laws repealed to make it easier for businesses.
So अपने यहाँ पे बहुत सारे ऐसे rules होते हैं, laws होते हैं which just don't make sense, जो बहुत सालों से चलते आ रहे हैं, इसके लिए वो है. इसके बहुत सारे examples बहुत easily मिल जाएंगे. Some of these are very funny also. So the government is working on cutting down these, and the government has been fairly successful in doing that. So this is what they've done in the last year. This is fairly commendable.
Okay. Or compliances, 75,000 compliances. वही
so 75,000 compliances मतलब if you are running a company today, ऐसा है कि आपको हर महीने कुछ आई हैव हर्ड दिस फ्रॉम समबडी, आपको हर महीने कुछ 50-60 फॉर्म सबमिट करने पड़ते हैं। वो 50-60 फॉर्म में आपको टोटल कुछ 500-550 सिग्नेचर्स करने पड़ते हैं। तो ये हर टाइप का कंप्लायंस होता है, शॉप एंड एस्टेब्लिशमेंट एक्ट से लेकर अभी तो जीएसटी आ गया, उससे पहले देयर वाज सर्विस टैक्स, उसके ऊपर सेस, ये वो, सो अ लॉट ऑफ दीज थिंग्स यूज्ड टू हैपन एंड you had forms which you had to fill out. So with GST and with reduction of compliance, all of these things have come down. So it just becomes easier for a business. If I'm a business today, even today, I have to hire one person just for these things. कि भाई तू ensure करके ये सब forms time to time submit हो जाए, right? So if these things come down, potentially as a company, I have to hire one less person. That is less expense for me, and that is easier for me to do business, which is what the government is promoting, saying कि बस business करो, ठीक है, बाकी सब हम देखते हैं, तुम धंधा करो, पैसा कमाओ, इकोनॉमी को आगे बढ़ाओ. At least that is what the intent should be. अभी वो कितना translate होता है, that is remains to be seen, but that is what it is.
Voluntary exit for corporates to be cut down to 6 months from 2 years.
So this is very important. अभी अपने देश में ऐसा है कि it is very easy to form a company. Okay, if today I decide that I want to start a company, and there are certain documents to be gathered which are easily available. Even if I take 2 days in gathering all those documents and filling the form and submitting it, my company registration will come back to me in the next 2 days. Okay. So from deciding to launch a company to actually having a piece of paper with you which says that this company exists, it is a process of not more than 3 to 4 days, right? So it is very easy to register a company, but what happens is it is very, very, very difficult to shut down a company. क्योंकि कंपनी बनाना इतना इजी है, इतने सारे स्टार्टअप. सो यू जस्ट लुक एट द स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम. ओके, easily more than 90% of the startups fail. That is a known fact, right? जो फेल होते हैं, जो उन्होंने भी तो कंपनी रजिस्टर करा था, अब वो कंपनीज का क्या होगा, राइट? अब वो कंपनी है तो उसको कंप्लायंस करते रहना पड़ेगा, फॉर्म्स भरते रहना पड़ेगा, उसका बिजनेस तो बंद हो गया, right? So right now, if you want to shut down a company, it is a whole process of 2 years. तो 2 साल तक आपको वो फॉर्म्स भरते रहना है, हर महीने रिटर्न फाइल करते रहना है, टैक्सेस भरते रहना है. तो नाउ
इवन अगर मेरा बिजनेस नहीं चल रहा तो भी,
इवन इफ बिजनेस नहीं चल रहा है, बट कंपनी तो एग्जिस्ट करता है,
हाँ,
तो आपको ये सब चीजें करनी पड़ेगी, ठीक है? सो नाउ विद दिस न्यू वॉलंटरी एग्जिट रूल, this process will come down to 6 months. So that is definitely a very welcome move. So this becomes a part of the package of so you have a lot of things for winding down of businesses. So you have a bankruptcy code which is available now, and you have a few other items that are available, and along with that, this voluntary exit, this just makes it so क्या होता है कि this cuts down a layer of risk for you as an entrepreneur to start a company. Because today when you start a company, one deterrent is कि ये साला हर महीना फॉर्म भरता रहना पड़ेगा, हर महीना ये काम करते रहना पड़ेगा, जाने दो, उससे अच्छा कंपनी नहीं चालू करते हैं, राइट? तो वो आपका एक डर निकाल दिया, तुम चालू करो, आपको बंद करना होगा तो भी हम बंद करवा देंगे, you don't worry about this.
Right. Next phase of ease of doing business, ease of living to be launched.
Right, so ease of doing business is something that the government has been focusing on since the last lot of years. So ease of doing business का एक ranking आता है हर साल, so where India ranks very low, right? So this ranks a country on a lot of parameters कि एक business के लिए business करना कितना easy है. So the more compliances you have, the longer time it takes for things to happen, the more tax you have to pay, the more kinds of tax you have to pay, your ease of doing business is low, right? So as a businessman, if I have to focus on things required by the government, more than I can focus on my own business, then my ease of doing business is low. So through all these measures, the government is just making it easier for you to do the business rather than focusing on all of these things.
Right. ठीक है. Next, taxation. The government will tax income from digital asset transfers at 30%. सबसे मेन बात जो इस पे मीम्स बन रहा है, तो ये क्या आप क्लियर कर सकते हो थोड़ा?
Right. So cryptocurrency में बहुत सारा ambiguity था. Is it legal? Is it illegal? Will the government ban it? You know, what will happen? You know, so by putting this tax, I think government has given a signal कि ban तो शायद नहीं करेंगे. Right? They may regulate it, and this is the first step in the direction of regulating it. So this is a positive, you know, for the ecosystem, where you are saying that you know, you'll take tax, so that is fine. But if the government is taking tax, then there is a probability that they will not ban it altogether. Right? So even though your returns from cryptocurrency will not be what it used to be before, right, where you know, you can't now expect crazy multiples returns because 30% to government ले जाएगा, but still returns are anyways going to be, even after this, they are going to be outsized returns, right? So it's a good thing that the government has put this. So this covers everything. This covers your cryptocurrencies also. This covers your NFTs also, because you know, obviously it will have to be seen what their definition of virtual digital assets. So they call it virtual digital assets. So उसका definition देखना पड़ेगा. But I think this is an overall term, you know, which covers all of these things. So you know, the details will have to be seen when it comes out. The devil will be in the details. But overall, it is a good step. And already, you know, you are seeing a faster pace of opening of accounts in crypto exchanges after this has been announced. So people are showing confidence on this.
Right. Gift of cryptocurrency to be taxed at receiver's end. मतलब अगर मैंने आपको गिफ्ट दिया, तो जब आप सेल करोगे तभी आपको टैक्स लगेगा, राइट?
नहीं, जब आपने मुझे गिफ्ट दिया है, ठीक है, वो गिफ्टिंग के पॉइंट पे डायरेक्ट. सो गिफ्टिंग इज यूजुअली विदाउट एनी टैक्स, राइट? तो अगर मैं यू नो, अगर मेरे पापा 1 लाख रुपए देते हैं, तो उस पर मेरे को टैक्स भरना नहीं पड़ता. वेयर मेरा एम्प्लॉयर अगर मुझे 1 लाख रुपए देता है, वो मेरी सैलरी है, तो उसमें मुझे टैक्स भरना पड़ता है. तो गिफ्ट पे यूजुअली टैक्स नहीं होता है. बट क्रिप्टो करेंसी को उन्होंने उसमें से हटा दिया है, saying that because then this becomes one way of saving tax, right? Where अगर मैं क्रिप्टो करेंसी बेच भी रहा हूँ, ठीक है, तो मैं ऐसा दिखाऊंगा नहीं ये तो मैंने गिफ्ट दिया हुआ है, तो मेरे को टैक्स नहीं भरना पड़ेगा, right? So they have just to close all the loopholes. This is one of the things that they have introduced with it, कि अगर आप गिफ्ट भी कर रहे हो तभी आपको टैक्स भरना पड़ेगा. So टैक्स तो भरना पड़ेगा, उससे कोई छुटकारा नहीं है.
Surcharge on long-term capital gains capped at 15% for listed as well as unlisted stocks. तो इसको थोड़ा ह्यूमन लैंग्वेज में कन्वर्ट करते हैं ना.
So listed companies, listed stocks तो पता है सबको, right? Startups के जो stocks होते हैं वो listed नहीं होते, वो unlisted stocks होते हैं, right? So what used to happen was that when you sold listed stocks, ठीक है, आपको long term capital gain tax लगता है, राइट? जब भी आप बेचते हो, अगर आप लॉन्ग टर्म में बेचते हो तो, और वो लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन्स के ऊपर सरचार्जेस लगते हैं, राइट? सो दिस वाज अ पैरिटी व्हिच एग्जिस्टेड बिटवीन लिस्टेड एंड अनलिस्टेड, और रादर इम्पैरिटी व्हिच एग्जिस्टेड बिटवीन लिस्टेड एंड अनलिस्टेड स्टॉक्स, वेयर अगर आपने कोई लिस्टेड कंपनी का स्टॉक बेचा है लॉन्ग टर्म के पीरियड में, तो आप एलटीसीजी के ऊपर जो भी सरचार्ज पे कर रहे हो, दैट वाज कैप्ड. ओके, बट अनलिस्टेड कंपनीज के स्टॉक्स होते हैं, तो उसमें वो वैल्यू के बेसिस पे वो सरचार्ज बढ़ते जाता है, राइट? तो अभी वो अनलिस्टेड और लिस्टेड को उन्होंने सेम लेवल पे कर दिया है कि अगर चाहे वो लिस्टेड स्टॉक हो या अनलिस्टेड स्टॉक हो, ठीक है, जो लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन टैक्स आप भरते हो उसके ऊपर का जो सरचार्ज है, वो सरचार्ज सिर्फ 15% रहेगा, उससे
ओके,
ज्यादा नहीं रहेगा,
जो
right? So
एक्स्ट्रा
what
टैक्स है
this does
मेनली।
is, yeah, this is when you sell
सरचार्ज
those
मतलब
stocks.
एक्स्ट्रा टैक्स।
Extra tax, surcharge is nothing but tax on top of tax. ठीक है, टैक्स लेके
राइट।
right. So what this does is that this is a positive for the startup ecosystem, because today if I am an investor in startups, जब मैं वो स्टार्टअप के शेयर बेचता हूँ तभी मैं बहुत ज्यादा अमाउंट, सो इफ आई इन्वेस्ट सेम अमाउंट इन अ लिस्टेड कंपनी and same amount in a startup, if after 5 years I make the same amount from both the listed company and the startup, हालांकि ऐसा होगा नहीं, स्टार्टअप में ज्यादा रिटर्न मिलेंगे, बट
हाँ
स्टिल फॉर एग्जांपल अगर मुझे दोनों में सेम रिटर्न मिलता है, ठीक है, तो मैं लिस्टेड वाले गेन्स पे कम टैक्स भरता हूँ और स्टार्टअप वाले टैक्स पे ज्यादा टैक्स भरता हूँ, राइट? तो विथ दिस कमिंग इन, माय टैक्सेशन कम्स एट द सेम लेवल, राइट?
राइट।
तो अगर एज एन इन्वेस्टर मुझे पता है कि मेरे स्टार्टअप इन्वेस्टमेंट पे भी बहुत ज्यादा टैक्स नहीं भरना है, तो मैं स्टार्टअप्स में ज्यादा इन्वेस्ट करूंगा, तो दिस विल एनकरेज इन्वेस्टमेंट इनटू स्टार्टअप्स।
ओके ओके। Finance and Inclusion proposed to introduce digital rupee by RBI using blockchain technology starting 2022 to 2023.
राइट, सो सीबीडीसी बोलते हैं इसको, सेंट्रल बैंक डिजिटल करेंसी. दिस हैज बीन इन डिस्कशन फॉर द लास्ट मोर देन अ ईयर नाउ, and finally the government has announced that they are going to launch this. So this is nothing but a cryptocurrency, but this is a
हाँ,
cryptocurrency which the government has issued. Okay,
तो
it is this will not be something that you can buy and sell on exchanges like CoinDCX or something. This is something which the government will issue to you. वो
ओके
कैसे आएगा, उसका क्या मैकेनिज्म रहेगा, ये सब डिटेल्स आने पे पता चलेगा. बट सीबीडीसी के कुछ फीचर्स होते हैं कि बिकॉज दिस इज मनी दैट इज technology money. Okay, this has a technology behind it, unlike your regular money. Okay, regular money में क्या होता है, आपके बैंक अकाउंट में पैसा आया, अब वो आपका हो गया, आपको
हाँ
जो करना है करो, उसको पड़े रहने दो, उसको इन्वेस्ट करो, उसको एटीएम से जाके तुम कैश निकालो, कैश को गड्ढा खोदो, उसके अंदर बरी कर दो, ठीक है, अब ये सब कर सकते हो. बट जब वो क्रिप्टो करेंसी होता है, ठीक है, इट इज अ टेक्नोलॉजी एनेबल्ड मनी. So the technological control lies with who has made the technology. That is who? The RBI.
गवर्नमेंट।
So that is the government, right? So CBDC में आप कुछ चीजें कर सकते हो जो आप नॉर्मल मनी में नहीं कर सकते हो. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, ये हाइपोथेटिकल है, दिस इज नॉट अ रियल सिचुएशन दैट कैन कम. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अ गवर्नमेंट कैन से कि ये क्रिप्टो करेंसी है, ये मैंने आपको इश्यू करी है, ठीक है, बट इसकी एक्सपायरी है 1 साल, आपको 1 साल के अंदर यूज कर लेना है वरना ये गायब हो जाएगा, ठीक है. अनदर थिंग दैट कैन हैपन इज दे कैन से कि ठीक है, ये 1000 रुपए दिए आपको, ठीक है, बट ये 1000 रुपए आप सिर्फ एक्स वाई या जेड पर्पज के लिए यूज कर सकते हो, बाकी जगह पे यूज नहीं कर सकते.
ओके
ओके, बिकॉज टेक्नोलॉजी है, तो गवर्नमेंट कैन इम्प्लीमेंट दिस आल्सो, दिस फीचर आल्सो इन दिस के फॉर एग्जांपल हमने बात किया था कि एमएसपी जो है व्हीट एंड पैडी का, वो डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफर के थ्रू डायरेक्ट फार्मर के अकाउंट में आ रहा है. तो कल उठ के गवर्नमेंट ये बोल सकता है कि ठीक है, जो एमएसपी है ना, ये सीबीडीसी के फॉर्म में देंगे, जो आरबीआई का डिजिटल रुपी के फॉर्म में देंगे. फिर गवर्नमेंट उनको बोल सकता है कि ठीक है, आप ये जो पैसा है ये आप सिर्फ फर्टिलाइजर खरीदने के लिए ही यूज कर सकते हो और किसी चीज के लिए यूज नहीं कर सकते. ये गवर्नमेंट ये बोल सकता है कि ये पैसा आपको 5 साल के अंदर यूज कर लेना है, वरना ये पैसा गायब हो जाएगा, ये पैसे का एक्सपायरी. So a lot of these features are possible. It is not necessary that the government will come with these things, but a lot of these features are possible with a digital currency. So ये किस फॉर्म में आएगा, इसका क्या फीचर्स रहेगा और इसका क्या कन्वर्टिबिलिटी रहेगा, अगर मेरे पास डिजिटल रुपी आया है, कैन आई कन्वर्ट इट इनटू नॉर्मल रुपी, ट्रांसफर इट इनटू माय बैंक अकाउंट, गो टू एन एटीएम, विड्रॉ कैश, गड्ढा खोद के उसमें डाल सकता हूँ कि नहीं डाल सकता? वो ये सब चीजें जब डिटेल जाएगा तभी अपने को पता चलेगा।
तो अभी खाली ये स्टेटमेंट है।
अभी ये स्टेटमेंट है कि द गवर्नमेंट विल start the process and finish it in FY23. There are some more details which have come out over the course of the last 1 or 2 days after the announcement, but a proper launch or a proper detailed paper about this will come out from the RBI, and you will know more details when you will know full details when that actual paper comes out.
100% of 1.5 lakh post office will come on the core banking system, enabling financial inclusion and access to accounts through net banking, mobile banking, ATMs, and also provide online transfers of funds between post office accounts and bank accounts.
तो धीरे धीरे गवर्नमेंट क्या कर रहा है कि पोस्ट ऑफिस को ही एक बैंक बना रहा है, राइट? बिकॉज बैंक को क्या चाहिए? बैंक को चाहिए कि जहाँ पे भी लोग रहते हैं वहां पे एक ब्रांच हो। तो पोस्ट ऑफिस का तो ऑलरेडी है, पोस्ट ऑफिस का हर गांव में ब्रांच है, जहाँ पे 10 लोग भी रहते हैं वहां पे भी पोस्ट ऑफिस का ब्रांच है, राइट? तो द गवर्नमेंट इज सेइंग कि चलो और कोई बैंक नहीं पहुंच पा रहा है वहां पे, एसबीआई भी ब्रांच नहीं खोल पा रहा है वहां पे, पोस्ट ऑफिस का तो ब्रांच है वहां पे, तो अपना पोस्ट ऑफिस को ही बैंक बना देते हैं। So already you had a lot of financial features in the post office. You had the post saving certificate. You had a fixed deposit which the post was offering. And if you go and see the amount of money which the post office has, in forms of deposits from its customers, it is, I think, if not bigger than comparable to some of the larger banks. So already post office as a banking system बहुत ही popular है. So we living in the cities may not use it or may not know about it, but if you go to smaller places and especially if you go to villages, the villager probably may not trust the bank that is coming, but the villager trusts the postman, the villager trusts the post office. तो बोलते हैं ठीक है यार, तुम मेरा पैसा रखो, तुम ठीक है, मेरे को जो भी इंटरेस्ट देना है मुझे तुम पर भरोसा है. So government is leveraging that, and the government is now bringing those post offices onto the core banking system which banks use. तो banks और post office में फर्क जो है वो और भी कम हो जाएगा. So this is a very good thing for financial inclusion in especially smaller cities and rural areas.
Right. 75 digital banking units in 75 districts will be set up by scheduled commercial banks to encourage digital payments.
Yeah, so this is actually a weird one because digital है तो ये किसी डिस्ट्रिक्ट में कैसे हो सकता है? डिजिटल इज तो ऑन द फोन और इन अ कंप्यूटर, so it should be everywhere, but so we don't know what this 75 digital units in 75 districts इसका मतलब क्या है. इसका कुछ डिटेल आएगा तो पता चलेगा, but the intent seems to be to encourage digital payments. So that is a good thing overall, but this is a very peculiar thing which was included in the budget, and I'm very interested to see what this actually means, because digital unit है तो वो physical location पे क्यों है, ये समझ में नहीं आया. तो जब आएगा कुछ डिटेल तब पता चलेगा, but overall the intent of encouraging digital payments and encouraging moving away from physical money is a good thing. So that is the positive.
Okay. So ये था पूरा यूनियन बजट का ओवरव्यू. निकुंज, आपके पास कुछ एंडिंग थॉट्स है कुछ?
Yeah, so this was a budget that was strong on growth, where the focus is on growth, where the focus is on encouraging business, where the focus is on capital expenditure, and that ties into manufacturing in India, and then packaging the whole thing in the form of PM Gati Shakti, where all the industries, infrastructure, logistics, roads, railways, everything comes together as an engine for development. So that is the so it's a very commendable thing. And the other thing is that this year's budget was low on populist announcements. कहीं टैक्स कम नहीं कर दिया, कहीं किसी स्पेसिफिक एरिया का कोई स्पेसिफिक प्रोजेक्ट. So usually those things become sound bites which become popular. इस बार के बजट में वो सब नहीं था. This year's budget was more straightforward, no nonsense, growth oriented budget. What remains to be seen is how much of this is implemented, how much of the target is met, and irrespective of that, it should be an interesting journey to watch, because India as an economy is at a point where we are one of the largest, one of the fastest growing large economies of the world, and this budget just sets us on that path further, without a lot of tinkering. So that the upcoming growth journey of India as an economy will be super interesting to watch. And I will just end by saying, go India.
So thank you for your time. और अच्छा लगा काफी बात करके, और thank you for the knowledge you gave. Till then, bye bye. Next video में मिलते हैं. Till then, subscribe, follow, और Instagram पे भी follow कर दो.